Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. Yes, the title of this week's episode gives it away. We're about to wrap up everything from this past weekend's New Zealand National Championships. Oh my word, what a competition that was. Seriously, for anyone who tuned in and watched it, oh man. So yes, this week's show is going to be a little bit heavy on the New Zealand National talk, but we've got a lot of other stuff to get through. Okay, so before we do, let's get through our introductions though, shall we? If this is your first ever Big Rab Show podcast, you are welcome. We are the show for the bagpiping folk. We reflect everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or our bread and butter, which is competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the Great Highland Bagpipe and its people. And yeah, like every other podcast under the sun, we do have a Patreon. And yeah, shout out to our Patreon faithful who are awesome, by the way. Awesome. Now, our Patreon faithful have been treated to some really quite special extras over this past week or so. Yeah. I'm going to mention Rab Reacts. Oh, yep, that might be making a return, and it's been released early exclusively to Patreon, but also there's been an episode of Big Rab Show Plus that has been released over there for Patreon subscribers. Plus, you get our weekly Fuse FM Ballymoney radio show. Last night's show was an absolute cracker. We had some real good tunes played on there. But anyway, tons of great stuff to enjoy over there on Patreon. Loads of extras. So if you do want to help support your favourite wee piping podcast, you can do. You can go over there, click support, and be part of the Patreon faithful. Indeed. Why wouldn't you? Right. Well, let's start the show with some listener mail, as we do each and every week. That email address has not changed since we started things around here. bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Now, to say that probably all of the correspondence we've received this past week, we're all talking about the New Zealand Nationals. So much commentary and talk about the various bands, the standard, the judging, the music selection, even down to things like the venue and the sheer, I don't know, kind of the organization of it all and how everything ran like absolute clockwork. Yeah, there was a lot of commentary about the actual organization of the event and how smoothly it ran. So to everyone who did email us in, I'm sorry I'm sort of generalizing. People hate it when I do that. But there is so many emails that we simply can't read them all out here in the show. I know it sounds like I'm boasting as well, but it really isn't. We did receive quite a volume of emails all talking about nationals, so I just wanted to summarize that. We will talk more about the nationals as we get through the rest of the show. Of course, we have all the news and updates. I'll tell you all about the thoughts and opinions of the Rab Show team, plus all the results, and of course, all of that we'll get into in the news and updates. But just to say, we've received all of your correspondence about the New Zealand Nationals. Thank you, everyone. We've also received a few ideas for future shows. Some people suggesting possible topics of the week. Now, we normally leave this exclusively to our Patreon members who subscribe over there, and they have the ability to kind of, suggest future topics. But there's been a few topics that has been suggested that have really piqued our interest and gone, yeah, I don't think we've talked about that yet, which is difficult to say. This is episode 480? Oh my word. Yeah. So has there been anything we haven't talked about yet about the bagpiping world? Yes. As it turns out, there is quite a bit. So you folks out there are quite sharp and quite good at coming up with new and wonderful ideas. So, hey, brilliant. Keep them coming, if anything. Especially if you're a Patreon subscriber. So if you are on the Patreon faithful, then do drop us in a comment anytime. And, suggest possible topics of the week. Yeah. All right, so just to let you know, those topics have they've hit the backroom team and we're planning. So, expect some good things over the next few months if we do develop those. Interesting. There you are. So that's pretty much it for listener mail. However, we did get one bit of listener mail that really did draw attention for all of us here on the team. It's been so long since we have had a voicemail on the show. I can't even tell you when the last time it was that we actually had a voicemail. It used to be something we done around the very early days of the show, where we encouraged you folks to record a little voice note on your phone or whatever, and then just email it into us, you know? And we used to get loads of these, and then suddenly they all stopped and no one sent them in. But this week, we got a voice note from a good mate of the show.
Hello, Rab. Andrew Sullivan here, just giving you a voicemail. It's been a while since I've sent one in, and it's just after the New Zealand Nationals last weekend and St. Patrick's Day the week before that, and wanted to say what a fantastic weekend of piping that was, and I'm very happy that the RNZ PBA has the live stream so we could all watch it, and I treat the Nationals like it's halfway to Christmas or Christmas in July, but for pipe band contests, you know, you have the Worlds in August and the Kiwis in March. And man, what a fantastic contest that was on all fronts. You know, listening to the grade 4 and the grade 3 on the Thursday or Friday. Well, it was Friday down in New Zealand, but it was Thursday in the U.S. And then on Friday or Saturday, this time change things getting a little confusing. But the second day, day 2, the grade 2, grade 1, juvenile bands, man, those kids can play. The standard of play from some of these juvenile programs is phenomenal, and it definitely is either inspiring or discouraging, depending on how you look at it. But as great as the grade 1 contest was, I think the real gem of the weekend was the grade 2 contest. There were, 11 bands, and all good. Fortunately, the band that I was going for didn't win. I'm a big Invercargill fan. I think they do some great stuff, and personally, I thought Invercargill and New Zealand Police had the best medleys, but I'm not a judge, so that doesn't affect the contest. But congrats to the Australian band. I think it was Emmanuel College, again another kids band, and put out a just a fantastic performances all around. And I've been re-listening to the contests from 25 and 24 and 23 and today 21, and it's just so much good music, and I hope it inspires some other folks, especially here in the northeast of the U.S., to get going. Our season's about to kick off in a couple of weeks. I think we have our first, well, at least in the Northeast, the first contest is in the week after Easter, 2 weeks after Easter, up in New Hampshire. And then my band's first contest is 1st of May or 2nd of May here in New Jersey. So we're gearing up for it. And, I always get a little fired up after this weekend and after the Worlds, but there's something special about the New Zealand Nationals, and one day I want to get down there and bring my band down there, and I think it'll be a fantastic time. It was great seeing there was Edmonton, City Edmonton was down there, a Canadian band was down there, and there was a U.S. band that went in 2020, Clan Gordon Pipe Band. I think they're out of Washington State or Oregon. I don't remember exactly which one, but one of those Pacific Northwest states up there on the West Coast. But yeah, what a fantastic fantastic weekend of piping, and this may be ruffling a few feathers, but as I said this a couple years ago, it's a good balance to some of the maybe not so great piping you'll see around here, especially around St. Patrick's Day. There's some bands that are out there having a good time, but everybody's ears aren't really having a good time. These might be fighting words, but I said what I said. Anyway, hopefully this could be a good call to get everybody competing. And as I said, I think in 23 or 24, if they can do it, why can't we do it? And it'd be really great to see, especially a place like New Jersey that has so many pipe bands, but the majority of them are road bands, to have some of them get in the circle and compete and really just up our game and up our standard and make piping better for everybody across the state, the region, the country, the world, etc. And so hope all is well. Hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day. Hope you had a fantastic time watching the New Zealand Nationals. I know you did. And before you know it, it'll be August, and some of us will be lucky to be over in Glasgow for the Worlds, and some of us will be watching it on the BBC live stream and listening to Bob Worrell do the commentary. So hope all is well, and we'll be talking. Bye for now.
Andrew, you absolute legend. I think that was kind of a train of thought voice note there, but very cool at the same time. Yeah, I think a lot of your commentary on the New Zealand season, on the Nationals and everything, 100% on the money. I'm with you there. So when your commentary about the dodgy bagpiping over St. Patrick's Day, I have seen some of that. There's been a few videos and stuff of some St. Patrick's Day celebrations bagpiping wise in the United States, and some of it, I don't know. In my opinion, all piping's good piping sometimes. But anyway, very interesting commentary. Thank you, Andrew, for your voice note. Do appreciate it. If anything, that's the first voice note we've received now in ages. Ages and ages. So if you do want to have your own voice reflected on the show, that's a way that you can do it. You can record your own stream of consciousness, as Andrew just did. Record it on your phone, and you can email it into us. bigrabshow@gmail.com. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on all things. And you know something? Andrew mentioned something there quite scary towards the end of his voice note. He said that it won't be long until we're in Glasgow again. I was actually talking about this at band practice last night. Well, yeah, Monday night there. And we were realizing that it's only a matter of so many weeks and all of it until we're actually back on the grass again competing. So it won't be long. It won't be long. Yeah. Won't be long until you're standing on that line and your pipe major yells at you, quick march, and you can just hope that you're going to hit your intro. So, yeah, it's just a few weeks. It's exciting. It's terrifying in equal measure. It's going to be good. Thank you, Andrew, for your voice note, mate. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Email us in if you do have one of your own, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Right. So, yeah, at this point in the show, we do have one of our favorite features, which is Weekly Drone. Now, next week is going to be a special episode from the Kids with Cancer charity now, of course, because this weekend is the event itself. So, as always, like we do every year, we have a full special episode all from the Kids with Cancer night. So, what we're going to do this week with Weekly Drone, we're going to spend a bit of time with Weekly Drone, all right? We have quite a number on the shelf, and we're going to play some catch-up. So, we might need to quick-fire some of these. We're going to rattle through them. So, JD, give us the first Weekly Drone for this week, mate.
It's the Weekly Drone.
St. Patrick's Day. Rab, just had a look at the lineup for the Dublin Paddy's Day Parade. 10 bands in total, only one of them Irish, and only one a pipe band. They are all youth bands, with 8 high school and university brass bands over from the United States, the Morrison's Academy Pipe Band over from Scotland, and the Clondalkin Youth Band, which is a positive. Obviously, it's great to see bands travel over to perform, but given the wealth of talent in Irish bands, it's a bit disheartening to see our national parade ignoring them. There are 3 great pipe bands in and around Dublin, with St. Lawrence O'Toole, St. Joseph's, and Black Raven. There are 2 reigning world champion bands in Ireland, with Kernaghan and Black Raven. As a pipe band person, it would have been great to see our national celebration put those bands front and center. I know they'll all be out performing anyway, but it would have been nice to see them get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, Weekly Droner, it's a fair point that you make. You mentioned quite a number of bands there, and yeah, you're quite right. A lot of them weren't involved in the Dublin parade, as we call it. You know, the big capital city St. Patrick's Day celebration. That has turned into quite a different animal over this last 10, 15 years, I guess. It has become extremely commercialized. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched the Dublin parade. There is like a live stream and you can watch the whole thing online, of course, but it is broadcast on national television here in Northern Ireland and across Ireland. And it has become a very different thing over the years. And yeah, you do quite rightly mention that a good number of the bands that are involved are not actually Irish. They are from farther flung afield. And it's a big deal for those people to get invited to play at this event. And I think that's what I want to put across. You know, the opportunity to be invited to come and play in Dublin for the St. Patrick's Day celebration is a big deal. And, you know, for any other band here, I guess, obviously it is still prestigious. Yes, they'd absolutely love to be a part of it, but they have parades of their own to be at. You know, you mentioned that, you know, the bands like St. Joseph's and Black Raven and St. Lawrence O'Toole, a good number of them actually have their own home parades to be at. Dublin is the capital city. Yes, don't get me wrong, but these other bands do come from regional areas and they do have their own respective celebrations. In fact, all of those bands that you did mention were all out on St. Patrick's Day, yeah, celebrating in their own respective areas. And, well, shout out to St. Lawrence O'Toole, who were there in Madrid. Yeah, we talked about that on Fuse last night. St. Lawrence O'Toole were in Madrid, in Spain, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. They had a contingent over there, and they were parading up the main street of Madrid City, I guess. I don't know Madrid too well. But that was awesome. But they also managed to have quite a number of their own membership still managing to celebrate St. Patrick's Day at home. So, yeah, bands who have that luxury of being able to split up into different parts and head to different areas, I guess, that's a great luxury to have. But a lot of bands don't have that. So, yeah, perhaps the ability to play in Dublin as well as in their hometown isn't possible. So they have to pick which one they can go to. And when they're not invited to go to Dublin, yes, I understand that. Yeah, it is, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with some people. I do understand that. Weekly Droner, it's a fair point that you make. It does kind of show where the Dublin celebration is right now. And that's not something that the bagpiping world can affect, I guess. So, hi, it is what it is. I know that's not much of an answer, but that's where it sits right now, outside of the control of the bagpiping world. Yeah. All right. Let's fly on. Give me another weekly drone, JD.
The weekly drone.
Leader shortage. Hi, Rab. With the way bands have found it hard to recruit leaders over the last couple of years, do you think there is a danger, sad that it would be, that the mighty sky may never be seen on the grass again? There must be a danger that the core of the band may scatter, if only to be in competition this year, then fail to come back when or if a new leadership team are put in place.
Weekly Droner, that has been a question suggested by a few people online. Will the membership of Glasgow Sky now scatter to the wind? Well, as we've seen, Les Galbraith has now moved to Livingston, Caledonia, And I'm not aware of any other member that has signed up with Livingston Caledonia, but who knows in that regard. But we know that Les has now gone that direction. So there may well be other members of the Glasgow Sky Association who are now looking for other bands to play with, and we may well see them all wearing different kilts this season. Do I think that that's it for the Glasgow Sky and that they will never be back in the circle again? No. Respectfully, I disagree. I don't think that this is the end for Glasgow Sky. If anything, I think this season, will be a period of rebuilding. We've seen Glasgow Sky rebuild and come back before, and we've seen how successful they've been last season. So we know that it's possible. So can history repeat itself? I think in that regard, yes, it can. I do think they have a very strong nucleus there within the Glasgow Sky Association. And I dare say this will be a band to pay considerable attention to over the course of the winter of 2026. It's going to be a very interesting one. And I'm not going to put money on it just yet, but I reckon we could see them back in the circle next season. Yeah, if all goes well and if all the rebuilding happens as I hope it should, well then here's hoping that they will be back in that circle. So, Weekly Droner, respectfully, I honour your question, but I do disagree your opinion that perhaps the membership have now been scattered to the wind and that's the end of Glasgow Sky. Oh, no. Oh, no, no. All right, JD, give me another one, mate. We're quick firing these today.
The Weekly Drone.
Local or international? Hi, Rab. It would be great to hear your opinions and the opinions of the listeners on this subject. Where should foreign bands' loyalties lie? To your local association or the RSPBA? Should gradings from the RSPBA supersede the gradings from local associations? Local associations have a far better understanding of each of its member bands' capabilities, players, etc. Surely that is worth something. Or should we listen to the RSPBA, who have no idea at all how that band performs on a regular basis? It seems to me that a foreign band can ask the RSPBA to play in whatever grade they want, within reason, and the RSPBA accept the request without any due diligence. Our association has regularly been completely ignored by the RSPBA when it comes to grading. No contact made to ask us our thoughts, etc. Not even notified. So, what is the point of local associations if the RSPBA ignores them and subsequently bands ignore them too? Without local associations, the scene dies. Yes, we may not have played at the top level or have many accolades to our name, but we give our time and sometimes money freely to the local scene to ensure its survival.
Ooh, that was a rough one, JD. Yikes, what's going on, buddy? So many people angry out there. Yeah, foreign bands. No, I don't like that phrase. I prefer international bands, right? Yeah, because there isn't anything foreign whenever you're talking about the bagpiping world. We're all in this together. Now, as for allegiances and as to where they should be placed, should they be with your own local branch or should they be with the folks in headquarters? Well, I guess it comes down to two questions. The first one, what is the focus of your band? Do you want to compete internationally and compete at RSPBA sanctioned events? If so, well then I guess you should possibly be paying attention to the rules that the RSPBA govern and all the rest. So yeah, that would be my focus. If you're wanting to compete at the Worlds, well, I guess you have to adhere to the rules that are laid down by the people that run the Worlds, for instance. So, and if your focus is the UK's, the British, the Euros, the Scottish, etc., that all runs through headquarters. And those are the people you need to pay attention to. However, if your focus is on supporting your own local scene and being successful there, and perhaps getting upgraded within your own local branch level, well, obviously that's where your focus should be then, at a local level. Now, I do understand that this is a difficult kind of juggling act where you have to kind of balance, right, we have a set of rules here for home, but then we also have a set of rules for Scotland. And they're two completely different sets of rules. What do we do? Now, this is where it comes down to question number 2. I did say there was 2 questions. First one is what your band wanted to do and where it wanted to have success. The second one is, engagement with the music board. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of questions asked here about the RSPBA music board. You did talk about a lack of consultation with your own home branch and everything, and that thoughts and opinions are ignored. That's a huge problem. And if anything, it's not a new one. It's been talked about quite extensively in a lot of other outlets online, and has been the case for years, that a lot of international bands do feel to be ignored whenever it comes to things like grading decisions, playing requirements, etc., etc. There's a lot of things that the music board apparently ignore. Now, whether it is ignored or not, I can neither here say yes or no. But, it is something that does need to be brought to the attention of the music board to say, hey, we've asked for a grading decision. For example, we want to play in grade 3B. And then the music board come along and they go, okay, whatever. No, that's not the job of the music board. What they should do, like you said, due diligence. They should do some research. Find out what the quality of that band is, the standard, what they have going on within the ranks. Would they be willing or able to play in 3B? Perhaps, are they graded correctly at 3B? Should they be 4A? Or should they even be 3A? Or possibly even grade 2, grade 1? Who knows? But yes, I completely agree. The music board do need to have engagement there with local branches. And if that isn't happening, that's definitely a concern. So I would agree with you on that front. Consultation and consideration of what is happening at a local level does need to be a part of whatever decisions the music board are making on your band's future with the RSPBA side of competition. They shouldn't really ignore what happens at a local branch level. So that's a consideration for both your local branch and the music board of RSPBA to engage with each other and talk about these things. That's an interesting weekly drum. If that is the case and you are being flat out ignored, yikes. I will shake my head in shame at that one. Music board do better, I guess. Yikes. But I do have the opinion that they do their best and they are, proactive in approaching and all of that. That's been my understanding. But if that absolutely is stuff the Rab got wrong, well then do let me know. bigrabshow@gmail.com, or you can send me in your own weekly drone. Let me know about the engagement with international branches and international bands when it comes to the rules, the grading decisions, the musical choices, all that kind of stuff. The integration with music board decisions and local decisions. Yeah, that needs to happen. All right. That was an interesting one, JD, and I did waffle a bit on that one, so we're going to quick fire again. Let's get into the next weekly drone, mate. Let us have it.
The weekly drone.
Pipe band jumpers. One-trick ponies. Hi, Rab. No, this isn't a request for a hoodie. I want to talk about pipe band jumpers. You know, the ones who join one band, then immediately start plotting their next move? The ones who you would think are trying to get into the Guinness Book of Records for number of different uniforms worn? The ones that think the grass is always greener, but when they jump over, find out it's actually AstroTurf and not grass at all. The ones that will drop you in a heartbeat for the next offer that comes along. Why can't folks be happy to stay put? Is it because their BS only works for so long before they get found out? The most successful bands have strong, consistent leadership, back and front. Fact.
I love that at the end there. Fact. If anything, that should be a soundbite there from my sound machine. Fact. Yeah. Whoa. No, if anything, I have experienced pipe band jumpers myself quite a bit. If anything, I've also had experience of pipe band jumpers wanting to jump into my own drum corps, my own band. And at times I've had to be reluctant and tell them, we would love the numbers. Absolutely. But unfortunately, I know that you're only going to be here for a short time and a good time, and that you're not here for the long haul. And that's up to the leadership of pipe bands to kind of enforce that, you know. We all know each other in the pipe band world, and we do know that those people can absolutely get a bit of a reputation. You did mention about people who seem to want to break a Guinness World Record for the amount of pipe band uniforms they have in their wardrobe. Absolutely, yes. And I'm sure those of you listening right now will know a few people that frequently jump bands, if not every season. And it does happen. And we make a joke of it every year, but it absolutely is a thing. Every winter that comes around, it's transfer season. And everyone seems to hop and jump and skip all around all the different pipe bands. That happens. You know, as much as we're joking about it, it's genuinely true. And you just don't know from one season to the next where some people are going to end up. Now, we've spoke about this on the show before at length, about player loyalty and what actually keeps a player grounded with a pipe band. It's based on a multitude of different things. It could be interpersonal issues. It could be the actual success of the band itself. It could be even down to the music that's played and stylistic differences. All sorts of different things can go into it, a decision to leave a band. But yeah, there can be those out there that are a bit flighty and can like to hop and jump between bands very frequently. If anything, I have seen some examples of people that have played in a maximum of like 2 or maybe 3 bands in one season. Yeah, I'm not going to name names here, but there has been occurrences of that happening. Well, they would play with a band in May. They would register with another band, learn their stuff, and be out again perhaps around the end of July, and then re-register with another band, and then before the end of the season, possibly into the start of September, they'll be back on the grass again with another band. 3 bands in one season. It is possible, I believe. However, I'm not sure if that is possible now with the new rulings about how long you have to be registered with a band. So that may have changed, but that was back in the early days in the 90s where it was possible. Anyway, so yeah, people who jump bands, it is very much a known phenomenon, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have had experience of this yourselves listening. I certainly have, and it can happen for a multitude of reasons. Everyone has their reasons for jumping bands and for changing. It's too big a topic to tackle. We have tried it before here on the show about player loyalty and all the rest. It's a difficult one. How to keep a band in the circle. You can go back and listen to that episode where I do try to answer a bunch of those questions. Yeah. That was another interesting drone. JD, I think I have enough energy for one more, mate. Wow, we're getting through these. Right, time for another weekly drone, and then I'll think we'll draw a line under it. Let us have it, JD.
It's the weekly drone. World's compilations. Hi, Rab. When are the officiating folks of the Worlds going to bring the annual Worlds compilation album releases again? It's been since 2014 we've missed out. I think it's time to bring them back.
Do you know what? Weekly Droner, I completely agree with you. I really sorely miss those CDs. Every Christmas, you were guaranteed to get the World's albums under the tree. You know, it was kind of a given. You know, if Christmas came around and you didn't have those World's recordings under the Christmas tree, you were sorely disappointed. So I am still in the process, actually, of filling out my World Championship collection. A lot of the qualifying CDs seem to be quite tough to get. Anyway, you don't need to hear me talking about my collection again. But yeah, Weekly Droner, I'm not entirely sure all of the reasons behind why they stopped. There was a multitude of reasons. I think one of the first ones was the sheer cost in the production of those recordings didn't outweigh the actual sale of the CD. Apparently, in a lot of years, a lot of the sales did not cover the costs of production. Yeah, which is why some of the years, whenever you're looking at collectors like me, a lot of those CDs can be quite rare because not a lot of them were sold. As I mentioned, a lot of the qualifying CDs. Remember you used to get that? You got Volume 1, Volume 2, And then you got the qualifying CD as well. So you used to get 3 CDs for one World Championship, and they all sold them separately. So you can always get Volume 1 and 2. That's fine. Possibly Volume 1's always the most popular, but you can never get the qualifying ones. They're, like, I don't know, they're so rare. And if you do manage to get one, then grab it, because they are very sought after by collectors, myself included. So as for the production of a possible future World Championship recording, I'm not sure how that's going to work. Over recent years, we've seen a lot of the recordings are now living online thanks to the BBC Radio Scotland and BBC Television Scotland as well. So they're all on the BBC websites. You can go back over previous years and watch and listen again to those recordings. As for the rights to those recordings and the reproductions of those, I do believe that the rights belong to the BBC. This is where it gets messy. Whenever you start talking about rights, recording rights, performance rights, copyright of some of the material as well, yeah, it gets into very murky waters. And I think this was also another reason of the possible demise of the sale of the recordings, because whenever you're starting talking about, PRS and making sure that people get their correct payment, if one of their tunes was performed in the circle, are they due a royalty payment? And if so, who pays it? Yeah, licensing, production rights, and it's all really murky and very muddy, and it comes into all sorts of law and copyright law. It's madness. It can really make your head spin whenever you start reading into all this stuff. I think pipesdrums.com ran articles on this on previous years. This was a bit of a thing that they kept frequently bringing up again about, the world's recordings. During that time, it was seen as a bit of a problem. And, how composers were not receiving the correct royalties that they deserved after having their work performed in public, captured by a production company, and then that work was sold. And, the composer didn't see anything from that. So, yeah, very murky waters. As to whether we'll see another one in the future, I don't know. As I've said, those recordings do exist. They are up there, and the BBC do own the rights to those for the distribution and all of that. So, yeah. So whenever you go and you want to listen to Field Marshall's medley from a couple of years ago, you go onto the BBC website, you can click watch, and then they get a statistic for you clicking on the watch button, that kind of thing. So what the future holds for the recordings, I have no idea, but I am absolutely with you there, Weekly Droner. I love the World Championship recordings. I am collecting them actively. And, I really sorely miss them now for the modern day. It is a big miss. There's quite a lot of history there. Yeah, if anything, I have some, really old recordings back from like the early 70s, I think, in my World's collections now. So it's really quite cool. Anyway, so it's good to look back on. But yeah, there is that big wall where everything just stops after 2014. That's quite horrible. There you go. Anyway, that's it for Weekly Drone. We've dedicated quite a bit of the show to that this week. So our news and updates is going to be a little bit summarized, I feel, this week. Because, we've got quite a huge topic to get into. Everything the New Zealand Nationals. Right. At this point in the show, I'm going to take myself a wee break. But I'll be right back after this. Ever wish you had a piping teacher on call 24/7? Well, now you do. Introducing the Interactive Player, a game-changing new practice tool at Dojo University. Play along with world champion pipers while the notes on your sheet music light up in time. Loop tricky phrases, slow down tough sections, zoom in to focus, and build speed automatically. It's like having a teacher right in your practice room, showing you how to master every tune at your own pace. So, sign up for a free trial today at pipersdojo.com and start learning smarter with Dojo U's Interactive Player.
Ready to take your playing to the next level? Say hello to the ES Session Chanter, the ultimate practice chanter designed for versatility and durability. Crafted from stainless steel and aluminium, the chanter comes equipped for both an A stem and a B flat stem, giving you the freedom to play along with any instrument, anytime, anywhere. Whether at a band practice or a trad session, the ES Session Chanter keeps pace with your creativity. Included with the chanter is the custom carbon carry case, the perfect addition to this compact and tactile instrument. To get yours, head to essessionchanter.co.uk.
Okay, time for the news and updates. Now, folks, this will definitely be a cut-down version of the news and updates this week because, we spent quite a bit of time there with Weekly Drone. So, shout out to JD, by the way, for recording all of those. Thank you, mate. But, right, let's trail into all of the news and updates. Now, I'm going to very briefly mention a few things and then skip past them. Not going to get into detail. If you do want to see a lot of that detail, of course, you can go and follow us over there on our socials, where we have shared out a lot of that information in relation to some of the stories that I'm going to be talking about. For example, the Blackthorn Pipers Society. I do have to give them a massive shout out because their event last week on March 18th was an absolute roaring success. If you haven't seen the videos from the Blackthorn Piping Society meeting, it was just fantastic. So, so many great tunes played. Shout out to Warren Kern, to Robert Black, to William. Come on, there's so many people that played at this event. The people are going to get upset that I don't shout out everybody. So, there's a wealth of great bagpiping from the Blackthorn Piper Society meeting there on March 18th. So much to enjoy. Go along, have a watch of all of those videos. I have to say, it wasn't just Highland piping on offer. There was a wealth of other piping on offer too. So well worth a visit. If you haven't checked out anything to do with the Blackthorn Piper Society yet, do take time to have a look at them. They're really kind of, they're showcasing bagpiping in such a positive way. Go and have a watch at all the stuff that's been posted from the Blackthorn Piping Society. And just congratulations on an event well supported and well ran. It was fantastic. Okay, going to very quickly mention the next news story, which is Breedy Ulster Scots Pipe Band are holding a quiz night. This will all be held in the Fox Lodge Cricket Club there in Ballymagorry, and this is all happening on the 1st of May. So for full details on all things quiz night and Breedy Ulster Scots, well, you can go and check them out on their socials. Breedy Ulster Scots Pipe Band, and I believe it's £20 for a table of 4 people, and everyone's welcome. There's raffles, prizes, and all sorts of refreshments on the night. So if you do want to go along and help support that, quiz nights are great crack, by the way. I'm going to talk a little bit more about quiz nights. May 1st in the Fox Lodge Cricket Club there in Ballymagorry. Go and help support Breedy Ulster Scots. Now, quiz nights. I have to give a huge shout out to the Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band. Let's give them a yay. Yay, indeed. The Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band hosted a quiz night themselves this past weekend. And I was fortunate enough to be invited along. And I was MC on the night. I was quiz master, if you will. Now, I've done this now for a few years, but I have to say this year's Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band quiz night was just so much fun. It was a huge night. I couldn't get over the crowd that attended this. The place was rammed, but the crack was unbelievable. I had some laugh with everyone that attended. I hadn't a clue about half of the questions, if not all of them. And as it turned out, neither did the folk attending. And I think that's half the thing with quiz nights. People turn up and they get a great night's banter, and you're also helping support your pipe band as well. So, shout out to the Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band for having me. Just brilliant. A lot of fun. And, a lot more to enjoy, as it seems. A lot more pipe bands out there are throwing quiz nights, so it's a good idea for a fundraiser. Good night's crack, and, you get a few quid chucked into a bucket at the end of the night. So brilliant. There you go. What's not to love? So, again, huge thank you to the folks there at Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band. That was some night. Okay, I'm going to lump together a whole bunch of stories, into one neat package. I wanted to tell you all that closing dates for all sorts of competitions are fast approaching. All right, that's all I'm going to say. The Kingdom Thistle Solos, the closing date for the County Down Indoors in Dromore, that's fast approaching as well. That's on April 4th. There's all sorts of solo events, of course, like the UK solos. The dates for that is fast approaching. If anything, I think it's at the point of me recording this. It's tonight, the 25th. There's so many dates flying around everywhere. So just to summarize all of the dates that have been announced, and there's a lot of them. My advice is if you are wanting to compete in a certain competition, do now actively check to see when those closing dates are. Now, a couple of shows ago, we announced and talked about the closing dates for the major championships. Some of those are fast approaching as well. So do make sure that you're not falling foul of missing those closing dates. Get your paperwork submitted on time if you do want to compete at all of the competitions that are coming up this season. All band entries here for Northern Ireland competitions are currently open at the moment. And they all have respective closing dates. So I just wanted to lump all of those stories together into one neat pile and warn you all. Closing dates for all the competitions this season are approaching. This is now the end of March, you may as well say, and the start of April's next week. So we're starting to get the ball rolling with our competitive season. So don't fall foul of it. Get your entries in on time. That's all I'm going to say right there. All right, going to briefly mention Altneve Memorial Pipe Band, who celebrated their huge 80th anniversary with a absolutely fantastic concert. Yeah, the reports I've got from this show, everyone had the best time possible. It was all held in the Canal Court Hotel, of course. We plugged it a number of weeks ago. The place was rammed, and the music on offer was just fantastic. So well done to everyone who was involved at that concert. There's too many of you to mention, but also significant shout out to Altneve Memorial, who played a few tunes. It was just such a great night. So well done. An 80th anniversary, well celebrated. And money on the night, of course, went to charity as well. So fantastic. Well done to everyone there at Altneve Memorial on your fundraising concert celebrating 80 years in the business. Congratulations. Okay, another news story that I can get into in very fine detail, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna briefly mention it and swiftly move on. I know, apologies. McDonald Memorial Pipe Band, of course, held their juvenile solos over this past weekend. And again, you talk about a wealth of talent from this competition. Wow. Just absolutely wow. So congratulations to everyone who struck up the courage to compete at a solo event, especially for juveniles. A lot of these young kids are quite young, but also incredibly talented. Now, we've shared out as many performances from those solos as we can on our socials. So if you do want to catch a lot of that, that's up there now on the Big Rab Show Facebook page, for example. Go and have a watch at them. There's some real blistering good runs from a lot of these young kids. Now, if you do want to get all the results, of course, that is available on the McDonald Memorial socials and all that. We've done our best to share out those details. You can go and have a look and see who won what and where, all your grades, your winners. All of that stuff is all up there now. All right. So just, again, wanted to throw it out there. What a successful event that was. Do you know, it's getting bigger every year as well, I'm noticing. Yeah, it's becoming really popular. So, yeah, shout out to all of those kids thumping out some big tunes. Thanks to McDonald Memorial for hosting that event. Their juvenile solos gets better every year. And I'm looking forward to next year's. Yeah. Heading to Drumore again for next year's juvenile solos? You bet. So, yeah, congratulations to everyone there at the McDonald Memorial Juvenile Solos this past weekend. Well done, everyone. Also, I have to give another shout out. Another competition that took place this past weekend was the RSPBA North of Scotland Branch Quartets. Now, I believe they also had a bit of a band element to this as well. Again, we have shared out all the details of the winners and all of that, and even a few performances as well from that. And shout out to Bucksburn District, by the way. Ugh, wow. So, yeah, shout out to Bucksburn, absolutely playing a big tune. It's very exciting. So, yeah, just to everyone who took part in that North of Scotland Branch Quartet competition and to the bands that hit the board as well. It's brilliant to see. Fantastic. So, it bodes well for the start of the season, folks. A lot of these bands are hitting the ground running, you know, with quartet competitions and stuff and solo events and little mini band competitions. It's starting to heat up a bit, isn't it? Yeah, that's really interesting. Now, speaking of solo events, we have to talk about the Duncan Johnson Memorial Competition, which took place this past weekend, of course, March 21st. And it was all held at the National Piping Centre. Now, this one was a little confusing. It was held across two different venues. And I was getting messages from people asking which grades are being held in which building. And, I was able to point them in the right direction, thanks to bagpipe.news, who had published articles on all of it, telling people where to go. Now, looking at a lot of the prizes here, I'm going to briefly run through the B grade. So congratulations to James Fraser, who won the Pembroke competition in the B grade. Alistair Brown won the MSR in the B grade, and also picking up the B grade jig as well, went to Alistair Brown as well. So not a bad weekend's work there. Well done, Alistair. So, yeah, again, for the full details of everything from the Duncan Johnson Memorial Competition, I know I'm skipping through these, something fierce, but yeah, full details of all the prize winners available on bagpipe.news. Full prize listings are there. Go and check them out. All right. Okay, I'm going to mention this. I'm sure you've probably already seen it now at this point, but the draw for the Ulster Solos has now been published. Yes, Ulster Solos are happening on the 18th of April, so not too long from now, but the full draw is now available on rspbani.org. So if you are going to be competing at the Ulsters, and it seems like a good majority of you are, there's so many entered for this. It's crazy. So yeah, shout out to all of you that are going to be treading the boards at this year's Ulster Solos. You're a lot braver than I. I don't think I would even have the courage to compete in solos, especially as a bagpiper, you know. Anyway, so yeah, for everyone who's entered, the draw has now been published. So the order of play is up there. Now, they haven't given you times or anything like that, so hopefully that'll get sorted closer to the time. But yeah, your order of play is up there. Go and have a look at it. And do you know what? It kind of reads as a who's who. Genuinely. Yeah, there's some big names in the mix here. This is going to be a very exciting competition. So yes, all eyes will be on Cookstown for the Ulster Solos on the 18th of April. Very exciting, that one. That's a huge contest too. Yeah. Okay, let's briefly talk about piping live. And one of their most exciting elements of the festival, arguably. Yeah, Pipe Idol is back again. Yes, and they are now actively seeking applications. Now, they do stress that you must be aged under 21 by the 13th of August, right? So if you're 22 on the 12th of August, then you're out of luck. Okay? So, yeah, you have to be aged under 21 on the 13th of August. You must audition and you must send through a video. All right? That's very clear. So also, yeah, you need to record yourself playing an MSR as well as a hornpipe jig. Full requirements and all of that to do with your audition is available on the National Piping Centre and the Piping Live website. Full details on all of your applications and processes and how that all works is up there. And yeah, application deadline 1st of May. So you don't have much time. Now, they do stress on this and they put a huge exclamation point. No video equals no entry. There you go. So, yeah, not sure what's going on there, but yeah, you must video yourself playing the required tunes in order for your application to count. So if you are wanting to compete at Pipe Idol, and let's face it, who wouldn't? It's one of the biggest events at Piping Live. It's brilliant. I'm getting tongue-tied here. But yeah, go and check it out. All of your application forms, your playing requirements, all of that stuff. It's up there now on the National Piping Centre website. Just follow the links for Pipe Idol. And yeah, who knows? We could see you whenever the heat starts on the 13th of August. Yeah, if anything, the first heat is on the 10th, I suppose. The 10th of August, which is the Monday, and then it rolls all the way through to the Thursday. Yeah, which is the final. So, yeah, good luck. If you are considering competing at Pipe Idol, we hope to see you there. And, yeah, best of luck to everyone there. Okay, time to talk about a concert that we've been promoting for a little while, I guess, since the announcement dropped about Inverary and District are heading to Chicago. Now, we did mention this at the time that they were holding a huge concert at the North Central College there in Naperville. And, yeah, that concert absolutely sold out in a blink. I think it was like 20 or 40 minutes and the entire thing gone. Yeah, so all those tickets are away. You can't get them. So their concert on June 12th, you can't get in the door. The place is rammed. However, yeah, you might have heard us talking about this a few weeks ago. Inverary and District, actually, due to high demand, have announced a second concert. Yeah. So this one's actually scheduled now for the Thursday. So June 11th, same venue. And, yeah, tickets for this are fast flying out the door, but they're not sold out. Yeah. So if you did happen to miss the opportunity to go and see them live in concert on the Friday, well, you now have the opportunity to see them on the Thursday. Yeah. So tickets are kind of limited. I actually had a look at the website here before I started recording, and in the middle, I guess there's a few remaining seats, but there are seats available in both of the wings. So that's surprising to me. Yeah, given how quickly the first concert sold out, Yeah. So go and check this one out, all right? So you now have 2 opportunities to go and see our reigning, defending world champions in Verarian District hit the stage in Chicago. There you are. So go and grab your tickets. Avoid disappointment. For more information on all of that, go to chicagoscots.org. You can follow all the links and everything, of course, for that, as well as all your details for the Highland Festival that's on that Saturday as well. We're in Inverary. We'll be competing at that as well. There you go. So there you are. Grab your tickets, avoid disappointments, and you can thank me later and enjoy an amazing concert from Inverary. There you go. June 11th, June 12th, and then in competition on June 13th. They're going to be very busy that weekend, aren't they? Okay, going to quickly mention an announcement that dropped from the Glengarry Highland Games. Have you seen this? Yeah. Now, last year, Emma Barr, drum major Emma Barr from the Field Marshal Montgomery, made an appearance there and held workshops and stuff and was just brilliant to see her. Well, this year she's heading back again. Yeah, the Glengarry Highland Games put it out on their socials that they're going to be welcoming back world champion drum major Emma Barr back to lead the mass pipes and drums, as well as those incredible workshops that she ran last year. Now, I've heard tons of reports from the Glengarry Highland Games last year and just how successful the drum majoring, tutoring and all of that went and how it all was really well received. So if you don't believe me, you can go and check out some of the video stuff from the Glengarry Highland Games from last year. And it was a roaring success. So well done to Emma Barr, of course, for last year's efforts, but we're very excited to see what she's going to bring this year to the Glengarry Highland Games. So this is July 31st and August 1st, and we're looking forward to seeing drum major Emma Barr at the Glengarry Highland Games. Okay, have to mention People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate, Caledonia. They're always up to something, aren't they? If they're not playing at huge rugby matches or they're preparing for their upcoming concert in the Aberdeen Music Hall, of course, Caberfy, the return. Well, they're preparing for that, of course. But recently, just yesterday, they put out an announcement saying that they're going to be in a concert in the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh. This is happening on Wednesday, the 22nd of April. And now, this could be stuff that Rab got wrong. I can absolutely pronounce this incorrectly. But this is the Royal Flutonia Dutch Wind Orchestra. Is it Philotonia? I can't remember if it's a silent T or not. Apparently this Philotonia is a Dutch symphonic wind orchestra, which just makes them quite unique. Now, what actually is part of this unique celebration is that orchestra is celebrating its 175th year. With a huge concert in the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh. Now, People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate have been invited along, and obviously being part of the Woodwind family, we're expecting to see some really interesting kind of duets happening here. That's what I'm hoping anyway. In the tagline of the press release, it says that each group will perform its own set before coming together on stage in a specially created collaboration. Now, they will be blending 2 musical languages in one unique night of heritage, friendship, and musical storytelling. Doesn't that sound awesome? No, that's what it says in the press release. So the concert itself is called Across the North Sea. So this could be absolutely a meeting of worlds musically and very interesting as I drop my pen. So the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh, you can go along to their box office. They're selling tickets for this right now. Concert itself's on the 22nd of April. This will be well worth checking out for a multitude of reasons. We know how good People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate are. Absolutely, they can thump a tune and melt your face. But as to this Dutch symphonic Philotonia, is it Philotonia or Tonia? I don't know, stuff that Rab got wrong. But I'm very curious. So, that could be an interesting night of music right there. 22nd of April in the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh. Okay, we're continuing to rattle through our news stories and we're making good progress. I did want to mention this week, Piping Hot Summer Drummer. Yes, they've announced the dates and all of your registration details, all that stuff to do with their 33rd rendition of Piping Hot Summer Drummer. Now, they make the claim, this is not me talking here, but this is the claim that they're putting out, that they are the world's largest bagpipe and drumming school. Oh, know that's a bold claim right there, but it could well be correct. I know so many people that have went to Piping Hot Summer Drummer and have told me the story of just how huge it is. So, yeah, that could well be accurate. So, I don't know. You can let me know. bigrabshow@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts. Is it the largest bagpipe and drumming school? Anyway, you can let me know. Of course, it pulls in the who's who from the bagpiping world. We have Jack Lee, Reed Maxwell, Stuart Little, Stephen McWhirter, Callum Beaumont, Donald Lindsay, Alan Bevan. You get the picture. There's quite a huge list of basically the top flight of the bagpiping world. Some legends who will absolutely be able to put you through your paces and help with your bagpiping and drumming. Yeah. So, if you are interested, full details are available now where you can actually go and register. The event itself is happening from July 5th all the way through to July 10th. And so, yeah, it's a full week of it. So, loads of great bagpiping action always happens at this. So, yeah, if you're going to be in the Silver Star Mountain area of British Columbia, near Vernon, I guess, is what it says in the press release. So you can go along, get your registration in now, and yeah, be a part of Piping Hot Summer Drummer 2026. It's hard to believe that this is in its 33rd year. I remember them running the first one, and I remember the talk at the time calling Piping Hot Summer Drummer. Yeah, a lot of people questioned the title. But it stands alone now, doesn't it? It's very unique. And there's actually been tunes written about it. So, yeah, quite an awesome event. For all the details, go and check them out on their socials. Registration is open now. And, yeah, be a part of the 33rd annual Piping Hot Summer Drummer. Also going to briefly mention this past weekend was the Sanquhar Indoor Pipe Band Competition hosted by the Ayrshire, Dumfries and Galloway branch. Yes, of course, all happened on March 21st. And congratulations to all of the competitors and prize winners, etc. Again, all of that information has been published up on social media, along with some of the runs as well. Shout out to Kilbarkin, who really played a big tune. And to Irvine and District as well. Managed to see your own performance there too. Very, very cool. So to all bands who did tread the boards for that indoor competition there, congratulations. I think you all sounded really well. And we've shared out those performances where we've spotted them. Yeah, but shout out to the Ayrshire, Dumfries and Galloway branch and the Sanquhar Indoor Pipe Band Competition. I told you, there was so much piping action over the weekend, you know. Brilliant to see. Okay, I'm going to briefly talk about a little bit of trad and folk music, okay? Now, I have been a long-term fan of a band that hasn't been on the scene now for years and years. And they have now suddenly started posting little sneaky videos on their socials. Now, I kind of bumped into their mandolin player on TikTok, of all places. They posted a video of a live gig of the band that he plays with, and I went, whoa, hold on a minute. I remember them. They were awesome. And I reached out and messaged him. I go, oh, wow, are you the mandolin player from my favorite band? And he's like, yeah. Oh, and then we started corresponding back and forward. It was brilliant. And now, all of a sudden, they're starting to make music again. Oh, right. Who am I talking about? I am talking about Pipe Down. Oh, Pipe Down. For any of you out there who are aware of Pipe Down, I'm sure right now you're all nodding your head going, yeah, Rab, I seen it. If you haven't seen it yet, in fact, if you haven't checked out their music yet, where have you been? Pipe Down have been, honestly, on my top 3 trad bands of all time. Absolutely love them. And of course, absolutely filled with blister and bagpiping. Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite acts ever in the trad and folk scene. And that, I don't say that lightly, but yeah, they've been absent from the scene now for what seems like decades almost. I can't remember just how long ago it was since I've seen them in concert, but they're back again. Now, trust me, if you're listening to my voice right now in the podcast and you like bagpiping and you've never heard of Pipe Down, well, yeah, head along to the Big Rab Show on social media where I have been sharing out their performances recently. And let's just say the piping is good. Oh, the piping is good. If anything, there's one particular video where Lee was thumping out some Terry Tully tunes. Come on. It was just ridiculous. So, yeah, shout out to Pipe Down. I'm so excited to see them back again. This is epic. And I'm really hopeful to see Pipe Down in concert again soon, playing gigs again, and hopefully producing another album. Oh, man. One of my favorite bands is back, and it makes me so happy. If anything, that just absolutely made my week. When I seen those few videos that they were posting on TikTok and on socials and stuff, it's just very entertaining and put a big smile on a Big Rab's face. There you go. Shout out to Pipe Down. I am very excited to see musically what they're going to bring. If anything, they could just be noodling around for now. But either way, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. There you go. Shout out to Pipe Down. That's exciting. Oh, man. Such good news. Okay. You knew full well I was going to bring this to the news and updates this week. But this weekend, on Saturday, 28th of March, is the Kids with Cancer Night 2026. And I don't know. I've been plugging this and promoting it now for weeks, and I can't tell you just how ready I am for this event. It seems to be, like, over on Fuse FM, we talk about it each week, and so many people are grabbing tickets for it now. I'm surprised it hasn't been sold out at this point. Yeah, that is surprising. But on the night, of course, we have a wealth of world champion soloists, world champion drum majors, as well as a special appearance by Police Scotland Fife, of course. And we also have a one-off special performance of a regrouped, reformed Pipes and Drums of the Royal Ulster Constabulary. Yeah, apparently this is a one-off, and I've been told that like 100 times. So one-off won't happen again. So if you do want to go and check them out, this is your chance. We'll also have a very special Q&A with Liam Beckett, MBE, who's quite a famous Northern Ireland sports guy. You are. So if you're into your football and all the rest, then, well, Liam Beckett's one of the biggest and brightest names, I guess. So there you are. So that's all happening this weekend in the Royal Hotel in Cookstown, raising money for the Children's Cancer Unit there in the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast. It does raise a ton of money for a very worthy charity. And, yeah, we get to thump out some big tunes and enjoy a great night of piping, but also, yeah, we're raising money for a very deserved cause. So, yeah, I hope to see a lot of you there this weekend. It's going to be a packed night, I have absolutely no doubt, but there'll also be so much great piping and drumming on offer. I'm very much looking forward to this. So, of course, we get asked the question every year, will there be a live stream from this? Do I need to bother to buy a ticket? Well, the answer is yes, you need to buy a ticket. There will not be a live stream from this event. I'm sure after the event has happened, you might see little video clips and stuff, of course, from ourselves. We're going to film little bits, and we'll put them up on our YouTube channel, of course. Also, there'll be a lot of exclusive extras for our Patreon faithful. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So if you do want to subscribe on Patreon, you'll maybe see those extras from the Kids with Cancer Night. That's all I'm going to say. We've already been working furiously hard behind the scenes. Ourselves and Rab Show, we're kind of, we're helping out with the, the setup of all of it and making sure the event runs and all that. So the Rab Show team are heavily involved in it. And so we're getting to the point now where we just want to open the doors. Does that make sense? Yeah, we just want it to happen now. We've planned as much of the logistics as possible. Now it's just time to let it happen. And we're very much looking forward to this. So we hope to see you there on Saturday, Kids with Cancer Night 2026. And if you haven't got tickets for it yet, well, my advice is to go along, contact Gary Smith direct, and I'll hopefully get you hooked up with tickets. There you go. So that's this Saturday. And next week, no doubt, expect a full podcast from the event itself. We do this every year. We will be making a full Big Rab Show special from this event. So, yeah, that's all next week's show. So, also, just to plug a few more concerts and stuff before we get into another news story, I have to mention Tullylagan, their concert in the Burnavon Theatre. There's tickets still available for that. Go along at the Burnavon Theatre box office. Also in the Burnavon Theatre box office is the Clock Finn Pipe Band concert. That's happening as well. They'll have a special recital, actually, by Stuart Little and Stephen McWhirter. So what's not to love there? So, yeah, grab your tickets for that. Also, there is the Ravara Pipe Band concert. Tickets for that are also still available as well. Contact any member of Ravara for info. And Drumloch Pipe Bands, their concert's also fast approaching as well. And did I mention Peoplesford, Boghall and Bathgate, Caledonia are heading to Aberdeen for Caberfy? Yes, that's happening as well as that concert in Edinburgh. Folks, we are smack bang in the middle of concert season right now. Yeah, so there's so many concerts happening, so many things to plug and promote. Yeah, and we've plugged them and promoted them before. We're just mentioning them again to tell you the tickets for these are still available. And for a lot of them, I'm quite surprised. So yeah, do go out and support your local pipe bands, people. Yeah, this is how bands fundraise and make money and help sustain that band through the season. So yeah, go out and support your favourite bands, buy a wee ticket, go and see them in concert. And yeah, you can be safe in the knowledge that you're helping support your local piping scene. There you are. So grab tickets, and that's it, plugged. Let's get into the New Zealand Nationals. Now, we're not going to get into the full sort of wrap-up. We're not going to get into the topic just yet, but we are going to briefly run through some of the results. Now, a lot of you did manage to watch the live stream, but much like myself, managed to fall asleep in the wee hours. So a lot of you might not be aware of who won what. Now, I'm just going to talk about the overall, right? Because there was a prize for the overall medley and MSR, depending on which grade you were watching. Of course, starting with grade 1, our New Zealand national champions for 2026, Canterbury Caledonia. Yeah! There you go. Shout out to Canterbury Caledonian lifting the New Zealand Nationals. And to say they were a little bit chuffed would be an understatement. Yeah, they were very happy with the result. Also, shout out to second place overall was Auckland and District, who really thumped a big tune. Shout out to A&D. And Manawatu Scottish finished up in third. There was 3 bands in grade 1 in total. That was such a stiff competition, though, I have to say. For anyone that's actually watched it all back, and thankfully I have now at this point, man, I don't know how the judges do it. Do you know what I mean? But honestly, go have a watch at it. And yeah, fair play to Canterbury. Absolutely thumped a big tune. And I particularly enjoyed their MSR. Now, I'm not a huge MSR fan. Normally, I'm a medley person. But their MSR was just swinging when they hit the reel, man. It was so good. So, yeah, go and check out all of that grade 1 actions up there in the live stream. In fact, that's with all of what I'm going to talk about. It's all up in the live stream now. So, yeah, let's look at grade 2. The overall winner on the day was Emmanuel College Highlanders. Yes, the University of Queensland, of course. What a result for them. Again, incredibly happy with that, of course. In second place was St Andrews College overall. In third was Celtic Pipe Band from Nelson. And fourth was the ILT City of Invercargill. Yeah, you are. Yeah, and the New Zealand Police finished up fifth overall. You are. So that's your top 5 there overall in grade 2. Again, I'm not going to break it down for medley and MSR, but again, I was suitably impressed by St Andrews College. I really enjoyed their medley performance. And if anything, the Celtic as well. I really like Celtic Pipe Band. And a shout out to City of Invercargill as well. You know, come on. These bands can really melt your face. But yeah, deserved champions. Emmanuel College, absolutely. 100%. Oh, man, so good in grade 2. It is the ridiculous grade even in New Zealand. And I'm very happy to read that. In my script, it is the ridiculous grade still, even there in New Zealand. Brilliant. All right, moving to grade 3 then. Your overall winners were Canterbury Caledonian Society, grade 3. Yes, lifting it the overall title. Not bad. And in second place overall was Hamilton Caledonian. Yes, well done to Hamilton. Yeah. In third place was Metro Scottish. Yes, and in fourth place was Auckland District, grade 3. And in fifth place then overall in grade 3 was Wellington Red Heckle. Go on, the Heckle! Yeah. Now, if you were watching it on the live stream, there was a lot of talk about the Red Heckle band between Libby and Max, and it was very entertaining. But yeah, shout out to the Red Heckle. They really did play a good tune. Yeah. So, I don't know. I was suitably impressed with Metro Scottish. I thought they sounded really strong. You know, Metro Scottish definitely building, I feel. And yeah, their MSR performance absolutely topped the bill, and whenever I looked at the overall sheets, then yes, they actually won the MSR competition, but they did sort of fall down then whenever it comes to the medley competition, where Canterbury placed top spot overall medley, and second was Hamilton, I believe. But yeah, third was Metro Scottish in the medley, and that knocked them down in the overall prizes there. But yeah, I was suitably impressed by their MSR. Definitely worth a listen there. There you go. But yeah, in grade 3, overall champions, Canterbury Caledonian Society in grade 3. Well done. Moving on to grade 4A then. Overall champions were the City of Rotorua, Highland. Now, have I pronounced that wrong? Stuff the Rab got wrong. Quite possible. But yes, congratulations to your overall champions in 4A, City of Rotorua, Highland Pipe Band. There you are. Second place was St Andrews College overall. Third was Papakura. Again, is that stuff that Rab got wrong? I hope not. Yeah, I actually watched back at the live stream this morning to make sure I got the pronunciation of that correct. So it is Papakura in third place. In fourth place overall then was Edmonton in district. Yes, what a result. Fantastic. Yeah, and if anything, Bland, they absolutely played for it, man. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. In fifth place was Canberra Burns Club. Now, this was a band I didn't know much about, to be fair, but whenever I did catch them at the Nationals, they really impressed, especially with the MSR performance. I thought they played a really good tune. So there you are. For all of that information, of course, you can go and have a look at the full results, all these summary sheets that have been published, and, of course, the live stream. Go and watch the performances. Now, I've neglected to mention Grade 4B, so let's get into that. 14 bands in total in here. Quite a big band, or big grade on the day. But overall champions of Grade 4B was Manawatu Scottish. Yes, well done. They lifted the medley and MSR competition. In second place was Celtic Nelson, the Grade 4B band. In third place was Marlborough. And fourth was South Canterbury Highlands. There you are. So that's your Grade 4B competition overall. And let's talk about juveniles. All right. Now, the juvenile competition for me was my own particular highlight from the New Zealand Nationals. We'll get into that a little bit more in this week's topic and everything. But the juvenile competition, 12 bands in total in here, and every one of them were fantastic. All right? Absolutely fantastic. If anything, I want to give particular mention to the 6th place finisher overall, which is the Wellington Red Heckle Pipe Band, or otherwise known as Teen Goose. There was a lot of talk about that on the commentary and everything. And the Red Heckle Band's done something quite exciting in the circle. And we'll talk more about that in the topic. But yeah, a lot of great piping action in here in the juvenile grade. Shout out to St Andrews College, of course. They stepped away with the overall title in the juveniles. In second place was ILT City of Invercargill. Yes, and third was Manawatu Scottish Youth Band. And in fourth was St Andrews College. There you are. So, folks, a lot of great action. I know some people sometimes like to skip over the grade 4s, the 3s, the juveniles to get to the grade 1s and 2s. My advice is to watch it all. You would be really impressed by a lot of the music that's in that circle, especially from the juvenile grades. I'll say that. Yeah, that was honestly my particular highlight of the entire event is the juvenile competition. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So there you go. That's my takeaway. Also, how smoothly and how well ran the competition was. It seemed to run like absolute clockwork, and you didn't see stewards sprinting around the place looking stressed out. Everyone seemed to be quite chilled out and on time, and everything ran like clockwork. It was brilliant. So, yeah, just well done to everyone involved at the New Zealand Nationals. We're going to get into that, of course, in this week's topic. We're going to unpack it a little bit more. And I think I'll leave it there for all the news and updates, because that's pretty much so much. And I know that we've had to gloss over a lot of that, folks. Again, if you are interested in all of that particular detail for all those competitions and things that we've mentioned, you can go along to the Big Rab Show on social media, where we've shared out all of the performances and clips and results and photos and all that stuff. We've done our best to cover every aspect of it. There you are. All right, folks, that's it for all the news and updates. And it's finally time for me to go and get myself a big cup of tea. It's time for the topic of the week.
Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band Supplies for all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Gilly Brogues and George Boots, crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs. Marchify, the brand new home of Flam 5 drumming. Check out their brand new Strike bagpipe case, inspired by their colourful, popular and reliable Flam 5 drum cases. The Strike bagpipe case combines durability, style and practicality, protecting every movement. Shop now at marchify.co.uk with worldwide shipping available. Marchify,
Every movement protected.
Hello, this is Allie the Piper, and you are listening to The Big Rab Show.
So it's post-nationals, and yeah, it's the perfect time, of course. The topic of the week, we are wrapping up everything from the New Zealand Nationals this past weekend, and no better people to join us again on the show. We have Libby and Liam joining us. How are you doing, folks? Are you well?
Oh, so good. Slightly, ever so slightly tired, but still buzzing from an amazing weekend.
I'm sure.
And I think both of us are going through what is colloquially known in New Zealand as post-nationals depression. So, but a great weekend all round.
Absolutely. That is the thing. You know, I find that even after World's Week, you know, when everything all ends and you're back to work on Monday, it's like, did that all happen? It's like a very strange emotion, that, isn't it? Yeah, it
is. It's something that non-pipe banders probably don't understand, the old PND or the PWD. But it's we just have to be kind to ourselves for the next few days, and we'll get through it.
That's it. But if anything, we have the comfort of being able to watch back at the live stream. Libby, I have to talk to you about that first of all. What a body of work! Congratulations, that was smashing.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully it was enjoyable. It was so much fun to be a part of, and the production team that we're so lucky to work alongside are just world class. So yeah, hopefully it was hopefully everyone watching and listening in was having as much fun as we were.
It was a lot of good crack, so it was. Yeah. Now, to be fair, I fell asleep at like 3 a.m., 3:30 Saturday. So yeah, I kind of missed like the last 2 or 3 hours of it, but I managed to catch up. But did you find that the people were pulling all-nighters watching you guys?
Yeah, there seemed to be, we were keeping an eye on the comments on the stream all the way through, and there were definitely a handful of people that were like right in there. They were fully engaged, they were commenting, and they were definitely pulling all-nighters. And there were people from around the world, so different, obviously, time zones and that kind of thing. But I think the recording of Saturday is like 10 hours long, and there were definitely people that were in there for the whole thing, which is to be commended. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple of Rab Show team members who were absolutely in it to win it, and then they knew whenever I'd fallen asleep because I wasn't responding.
That's right. We saw one of them in there. I can't remember his name now, but I think he was one of your production team, and just totally committed. It was very good, but there was definitely the whole community in there was like, "Where's Rab? Do we need a welfare check on him? Is he okay?"
No, all good. Managed to catch up though, but the work between yourself and Max, you guys seem to bounce off each other really well. You know, you were taking the mick out of Max, and then in return he was giving it back. There was always a lot of back and forth between you two over the weekend. How did you find working along with Max?
It was really interesting. We were kind of reflecting a little bit in that we didn't have a lot of time together beforehand to actually kind of, plan what we were going to do. Yeah. And it probably worked out really well. Max and I have known each other for quite a long time. Max is quite a bit younger than me, so I remember him coming through as a teenager. And we hadn't really thought or planned anything, but it was almost, it was easier that way because we just kind of bounced. And we didn't almost realize we were doing it until we got some comments on Friday because we wanted to check in to make sure that everything was okay. And people were like, "Oh, you guys are just like bouncing off each other. It's so funny." And it wasn't until sort of last night I started watching stuff back and I thought, oh, it's just like, how lucky am I that I get to work with someone like Max, who's a total professional that kind of dealt very well with me in some interesting moments with things like having food on my microphone that actually wasn't food, it was just grass. But just getting excited about dogs and all those kinds of things. But I love working with Max. He's an absolute professional and a great laugh as well.
It was so much fun. I think we have some particular highlights here in the Rab Show team. We have notes here, Libby, and I wanted to ask you a few questions. So
okay.
Can we talk about wee Walter, as we were calling him now? Yeah. Little Walter, the dog you met during the Street March competition. Such a cute dog. Oh, we all
he was. Oh yeah, and I wasn't sure if he was like a sausage dog with big ears or if he was a basset hound.
Yeah.
And we've had this thing over the last few years where there's always kind of pipe band dogs, and I do the Palmerston Square Day competition live stream as well with Phil Mayer, and there's always like ducks that just come in and hang about the bands, and they just don't even seem phased. So we'd noticed after a couple of hours on the Friday that we hadn't seen any dogs and wondered what was going on. So we were like looking out for dogs in the street march, and then we saw Walter, and I just had to go and chat to him. But yeah, he was a 3-month-old Basset hound, and he had a little mate with him as well, another puppy. But yeah, it was great to see a few pipe band dogs. But he was probably my favourite.
He's so cute. So yeah, shout out to Walter. He's now an absolute star. Yeah. But there was some interviews as well, Libby, that you got that had us absolutely howling. With some of them were just brilliant. Is that something that you guys had worked on throughout the weekend? So I know who'll give us a good laugh. You know, he'll give us a good interview. Yeah.
Again, we didn't really plan it. When you're doing the live stream, you're kind of trying to think ahead quite a bit, you know, what band's coming up and what have we got to go and where do we need to fill. Again, the production team's amazing. They kind of just tell us what to do, but we've got a little bit of free will when it comes to picking the people that we interview. Yeah. And I was standing there in the past. What I've always done is actually just gone up to people that I know, and I know that they'll be good crack, or I know that they'll be up for a bit of a chat. Yeah. This year was a bit different. We just kind of were looking for people that looked like they might be open to having a conversation. And we didn't even really ask a lot of them. We just bowled up and said, hi, let's have a bit of a yarn. But yeah, generally speaking, everyone's pretty good at just chatting away, and they're very passionate. And there were a lot of locals as well during the street march that we managed to have a chat with, and they seem to be loving it. So I can't remember which ones were kind of funny or which ones were hilarious, but I'm glad that you got a chuckle out of them.
There was some of them that just looked, oh, we're on camera. Oh God. There was one, a lot of that, like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting a microphone. So that we were kind of giggling at that, thinking that was really funny. There we go.
Nice.
But yeah, some of the insights that you had as well, like you had Phil joining you on a number of occasions as well, and he provided a lot of really interesting commentary and stuff like that as well. So for those of you who haven't checked out the live stream, I know we spent a good bit of talking about it. Go and have a watch at it. It's all available now on the YouTube channel. You can go and watch the entire thing back again. But yeah, just well done, Libby. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. It was great fun. Speaking
of congratulations, Liam, what a weekend, mate. Well done. New Zealand champ.
Yeah, look, it sort of hasn't all sunk in. I remember talking to Libby and Max after the event while we were having dinner, and I think, really successful competition. I think, out of this world live stream, and I want to come back to that just briefly shortly, but also stepping back in the circle and becoming New Zealand champion again. It all hasn't really sunk in, and I think it was just because the weekend, and Libby will attest to this as well, you're just on the go all the time. Like I was down with the live stream guys because it's certainly a pet project of mine, and a previous president, Alison McGregor, he's very passionate about it as well. We were down there from sort of midday Thursday, helping them set up and get some of the new elements set up. So obviously we had a drone this time, which was providing some incredible footage of not just the high band, but the region. So the big, I think I mentioned it in the last podcast, but the Taranaki Maunga, which was beautiful. And we had a couple of amazing days with great weather. So you got to see that in its full spectacle. Obviously presentation desk, which Libby and Max stood behind, and we used quite a lot throughout the weekend for other things, including the results presentation, right through to, not leaving the ground until about 7 or 8 o'clock. I can't remember, Libby. I think we got the last bus back to New Plymouth from Inglewood at about 8 o'clock. And it was just an incredible weekend. And I'm so grateful for everyone that made a contribution, whether they were playing or they turned up to watch, or they were like Libby and Max and performing a really important task for the weekend. It was amazing.
It had a live sport event type of feel. You know what I mean? It's like you were watching like the Olympics or the World Cup or something, and you had pundits on the ground and stuff. It had a sporting event type of feel. Is that what you were kind of aiming for, I guess?
And look, the RNZPBA is not the BBC. We don't, do this on a daily basis, and we don't have, multiple channels where we're broadcasting to. But our 5-stream guys are from Melbourne. So Louis mentioned Tim, and the team that come across are always pushing us to kind of push the boundaries a wee bit. So, obviously the drone this year, we had the jib. We love the jib. The jib is always around. The jib is fantastic.
We love the jib.
And in fact, funny story about the jib. So last year in Invercargill, we had just this random guy kind of come off the street and say, "Oh, I can operate a jib. Let me help you."
Do people know what a jib is? Like,
So, well, yeah, no, good call. So for context,
this random guy turns up to operate a jib. What's the jib, Liam?
What's
yeah,
a jib? Yeah.
good call. So for context, the jib is like the camera crane thing. So at the Worlds, they have it. It's the big thing standing by point A. We have ours in a slightly different position, but we've got a camera crane which is giving you kind of wide shot views and swinging views of the arena. Anyway, this random dude turns up and he's like, "I can operate one." And Tim was like, "Great, I would love you just to do that." He did a great job. And then miraculously, through no planning whatsoever, same random man was in Taranaki on the Friday, and the Saturday managed to randomly wander into the contest and say, I can help you out again. So we had him back, which is fantastic. Just that's how small New Zealand is and how tight-knit I think our community is. But, we do definitely put a lot of effort into it. And I think we probably do things slightly differently to the BBC because our audience, as Tim keeps reminding us, is actually trying to encourage the New Zealand public to participate in the event. So, yes, you do have Libby and Max probably talking over some of the competition. You do have them engaging in, banter and things like that. But that's to make sure that we're not just capturing the pipe band community. We're trying to capture those people who might stumble across the live stream and can immediately resonate with what's going on, because it's not just kilts and bagpipes and drums. It's people having a lot of fun and talking about really interesting things too.
Yeah, I think definitely has been successful in capturing that, and as you say, capturing the action outside the circle is almost just as important as what's inside, that social element is a big deal. But let's talk about the action inside the circle. My own personal takeaway, I don't know if anyone else watching this will take the same thing away, but this is my own view. The juvenile competition was just insane. The standard of those bands. Oh, my word. Those kids can play, Liam.
Yeah, and probably the highlight for me, obviously winning the grade 1 was great, but actually the highlight for me was listening to that competition. I got the privilege of being able to sit back in the live stream tent with Libby and Max and watch the entire thing. And I think Libby, from memory, every time a new band came out, I was like, that was really good. Every time a new band came out, we were just blown away. And when you consider as well, there was 2 or 3 new bands in there, and a couple of them got prizes in the top 6. I think it speaks to, again, the renaissance I keep talking about here in New Zealand. We've just got such an encouraging new young group of people who are participating. And, whether it was St Andrews College who took the top honours or some of the bands that came further down, they were all fantastic in their own right and doing some incredible things. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was the Wellington Red Hackle Team Goose who did a bit of a turnout. So something quite different that we haven't seen in New Zealand before. And obviously we had Robert Matheson judging during the weekend, so probably a bit of a nod to what he did in his final year of being Pipe Major of Shots. But, our young people are doing fantastic. They're really innovating with the music. And as I say, it was one of the big highlights for me this weekend. It was awesome.
But I'm glad you mentioned the big turnout, because I remember all of us in the live stream were going, whoa, the big turnout. That was so much fun, and I think that's one of the things I wanted to put across as well, is that as much as the kids are competitive, they're incredibly talented, but they're also having fun doing this. They were walking off the line with huge smiles. Normally we're used to seeing people walking off the line going, oh God, I missed that part and that second, that break and that.
Yeah.
They're all having fun.
And that's something I'm just talking to one of the pipe majors from down in Southland just before, and obviously slightly disappointed in some of the results, but actually really proud of the journey that they've come on and the fact that the kids were really happy and smiling and enjoying what they're doing. And in some respects, that's the more important thing, because you can't control what the 4 people on the pen are going to do on each day. You can't make them give you a first or a whatever, but you can entertain yourselves, you can entertain the public, and you can have a good time doing it. And I think as long as you're kind of ticking those boxes, job done. It's always nice to win. It's always nice to come away with a trophy. But more importantly, if those kids come back next year and are better, are still enjoying themselves and have learned some new skills, from my perspective, that's us winning in a different way.
Absolutely, yeah. So I don't know, between the scenery being amazing, the drone shots, and we all love the jib, everything to do with the live stream, and Libby, your own commentary as well, yourself and Max have done an absolutely smashing job. So now, I suppose, starts the work of the production of all of those videos. Everyone now is waiting for the individual video performances, because they're edited differently, aren't they, from what they're in the live stream?
Yeah, so we slightly change the way in which we produce those, and they should be on YouTube in the next couple of days if I can get through my post-nationals depression and get them up. But if I can just briefly come back to Libby and Max, because we've obviously had quite a few different presenters over the last couple of years, and Phil has been Uncle Phil, as I think he's known on the live stream chat, is incredible, and it was really great to have him involved. But I think what was really special this time is, the chemistry that Libby and Max had from the first minute right through to the end. And for those that were sitting listening to the mace flourishing, Libby and Max, without any knowledge whatsoever of drum majoring and mace flourishing, managed to get through that and provide some really interesting and insightful commentary. But it was so good. And we're so lucky, I think. I mean, Max works for Television New Zealand, so our version of the BBC. Libby obviously has extensive experience doing this, so we were really grateful. And I think more importantly than anything, they were on for 10 hours on Saturday. They were on for about 7 or 8 hours on the Friday without breaks, with kind of limited food and water because they can't be jumping to the bathroom every so often. So they did a remarkable job, and I'm so proud of them because it was certainly our best ever live stream for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And Libby, I think with people in the live stream, live chat and everything, they were concerned for your well-being. Some people were saying, "Oh, Libby, take 5 minutes, go and get a burger or a sandwich or something." Did you find that? The people were actually worried about you guys.
Yeah, it was so interesting. And for some reason, often we worry quite a bit about what everyone who's listening in says, because we want everybody to enjoy it and we want them to have a good time. And Liam's very kind. We just kind of do our thing, and there's work that goes in for hours and hours and days in the lead up to the event. We just show up for a couple of days and do our thing. But yeah, it was interesting, people making sure that we had sunblock on because Max was getting quite plum looking. He was getting quite red. And people making sure we could have a cold beverage and all those kinds of things and snacks. So again, we're really well looked after. But it was like Liam said, I think we were kind of vibing off the people that were part of it as well online, because they were just sort of dropping comments and talking to each other and looking after each other. So yeah, again, it's just testament to the community that we're all so lucky to be a part of.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Liam, Libby, I think the Nationals were an absolute roaring success, and congratulations on what an amazing event it was. So can I ask then about your own personal takeaways? Libby, have you got any particular highlight that sticks out to you, that your one lasting memory from this past weekend's Nationals?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the on the park, the playing, and we talked a lot about the standard. It was phenomenally good. I think also just the sheer number of people and bands that were there that have travelled, because it's not cheap, and the world's gone a bit crazy and people still committed to come across. I think one thing that's always a highlight for me is I haven't been to a pipe band competition for 2 years. I missed the Nationals last year, and I often go to Square Day in Palmerston North, and I missed it in December. But you see these people that you've known for the best part of most of your life, and it feels like you saw them only a week ago. And I think that's really, really special. And I think your listeners probably around the world know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just a New Zealand thing. It's something that's so true around pipe bands. I mean, the last time I was in Scotland was 2013. And I feel like if I went back and went to the Todd Bar, if that's still a thing, but you walk into the Todd and you see people you haven't seen for over a decade, and it would still feel like you just saw them a few months ago. So that's always it's always a really special highlight for me, especially because I haven't played for a really long time. So, yeah, I really love that. What was your highlight, Liam?
Yeah, what was yours, Liam?
It's really, actually genuinely so many. Putting aside some of the great moments on the live stream, which definitely are going to be a reel/a video that will be released in due course. Particularly some of the... I don't know if people were picking up, but Libby has a penchant for animal noises. And so when there was a particular noise from, a particular name of a tune that related to an animal, she would she would make some relatable noise, and that was certainly a highlight for me. But in also scene and community was really special. Like, you know, you had 3 fantastic Grade 1 bands, but more importantly, you had 14, I think, in the Grade 4B that were doing amazing work. We had 11 in the juvenile, and my long-lasting memory of the contest will be fantastic music, great crack, and setting us up, I think, for a really special future. And I know that sounds like a politician speaking, but it genuinely was. Like, I get that we can see so many young people come through, and that when I'm old and tired and can't play anymore, they'll be continuing the tradition here, and that's really important to me. So, yeah, apart from Libby and Max's antics, it was certainly seeing those kids come through and playing and doing the business, which was cool.
Fantastic. So can I ask then the burning question? Once the live stream ended and everyone paraded off the ground, is there plans now in place for next season and for the next year's Nationals? Is there anything in the works then for the next one?
Yeah, 100%. And
I have to pass it to Liam because he's the keeper of all the secrets. I know nothing. All I needed was that I needed some food when that live stream got turned off. I was hangry. Well, I wasn't hangry, but I was like, someone get me a sandwich.
Yep. There you go.
And then Libby walks in with a couple of beers into the office, and she was set to go. But to be fair, they did a hell of a lot of work over the weekend with very little food and water. So that is a work on for us next year. But absolutely, like, I think the live stream does more for our movement than wherever we hold it in the country. So we could hold it in a small town or a big city, but selling our story to the world, selling our music to the world is really important. But obviously, for all the new pen pals that Libby and Max have on the live stream, they'll want another piece of Libby and Max next year. Although Max is actually heading across to London, so that's probably Max's swan song for a little bit of time. So we'll.
Right. Do you know, I was looking at the drone footage and everything of the scenery, and I'm fascinated to learn more about the North Island. I don't think I know enough about it, so I've been actually gone down a bit of a rabbit hole, looking at all sorts of like tourist information videos and stuff of the North Island. It looks like a beautiful spot. Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's very different to the South Island. Those who have been to New Zealand will know what I'm talking about. The North Island is, I guess, Auckland's got a bigger population than the whole mainland, so the mainland being the South Island. But yeah, the North Island is cool, and Taranaki, where the Nationals were, is sort of dominated by a very large volcano, Mount Taranaki. And I know there was a member of the Manawatu Scottish Pipe Band that actually climbed it the morning after the Nationals for sunrise. So he must have left at like 2:00 in the morning to be able to get up there in time to climb up.
Wow.
It's it's the second highest mountain in the North Island. But yeah, North Island is great. All of New Zealand is great. And I know that there were a lot of calls on the live stream for you to come over to New Zealand at some point too.
There was a lot of that. Yeah. And the Rab Show team were like, can we actually make this happen, Rab? And they're all like, right, we need to get a look at this and see if we can get you on a plane. I'm like, come on, behave yourself. I've got a season to take care of here in the UK first. I don't know. For anyone that we've spoke to after Nationals, they all seem to have had the best time possible. And it's certainly one on my bucket list for sure. So, Liam, Libby, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode again. But yeah, we had to dedicate a full show to this because what an event. And I think piping in New Zealand is certainly in a very healthy place right now. I think that's where we want to leave it. Yeah. So at that point, for anyone who does want to get any more information on what we're talking about, do go and check out the YouTube channel. Full live stream is up there. Plus, as we've been mentioning, you will be seeing periodic videos from bands' performances all uploaded there for you to check out. Yeah. So, Liam, Libby, I think you deserve a well-deserved rest at this point. Kick the heels up. But thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. Thank you.
Thanks, Rab. Thanks for your support too. We love having you and your listeners as part of our contest.
Oh, of course, yeah. 5 cups of coffee deep and I still managed to fall asleep. There you go. There you are. A huge thank you to Libby and Liam for joining us on the show. And yeah, I'm hoping that I wasn't the only one that managed to fall asleep at 3 a.m. Yeah, but we did have guys on the Rab Show team. Shout out to Ewan, by the way, who managed to pull the absolute all-nighter and, yeah, caught the entire thing. Now, granted, whenever I woke up, it was like 5 or 6 a.m. And at that point, Ewan was going to bed. He'd had enough at that stage. So I was like messaging, trying to find out who won. And Ewan was fast asleep. So the time difference was a bit of a killer, but you talk about an incredible event. Oh my word, did not disappoint. So a huge thank you again to Liam and Libby for joining us. What an incredible event that was. Full congratulations to everyone then at the RNZ PBA and to all of the competitors, the organisers, the backroom team, the live stream production crew. Just epic. If anything, I'm going to float this idea. All right, before I leave you, it shows what could be done with a pipe band competition, doesn't it? The likes of the New Zealand Nationals being a full-on production like this, it shows that it is possible. And ourselves in the Big Rab Show doing what we do, asking for volunteers who are going to contests and filming bands with their mobile phones is one thing. But whenever you invest the money in the infrastructure and actually have a full-on production machine like that, it really shows that this is, showcasing bagpiping in the best way possible, and perhaps could be food for thought for other branches out there that may be paying attention to the New Zealand Nationals. It's a shining example of what could be done, in my opinion. So you can absolutely throw me under the bus and go, Rob, get off your high horse. Yeah, it will take a serious amount of investment, but it shows what's possible. Right, folks, that's it. With piping and drumming in an incredibly healthy place in New Zealand, I dare say that things there can only ever get better. And we'll certainly do our best to keep across developments as they happen. But we're going to be doing our best to cover things here in the UK for our own season here, our major championships ahead of us, concert season approaching, all of the stuff that we talked about in the news and updates. And we're going to do our best to keep across all of it. To everyone that's going to be out playing tunes this weekend at the Kids for Cancer Charity Night, have a good tune. We will see you all there, of course, in Cookstown. And, of course, next week on the Big Rab Show podcast, we will have a full special episode from the event. Looking forward to that. Yeah. So, folks, if you are out competing this weekend, wherever you are around the globe listening, do send us in your Rab Show selfies. And if you can, send us in a little video clip, then all the better. Email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Yeah, or what you're up to, indeed. Folks, that's it for another topic of the week. And that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thank you all so much for downloading this week. And we'll see you all in the next one. Until then, all the best.
Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week. And a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also, check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show podcast. All the best.